I got a bruise. I seen friends turn cold for a little bit of gold. Saw the world sell dreams and it's so it is sold. But I hear that call when the night get long. Y'all wait till my soul, boy, stay strong. Ain't no mixing that light with the smoke in the room. I've been chosen for more than the pull of the doom. So I step back, let the dark pass. Clean hands, clear path, I'm done with that. Set apart now, he won't let me drown. When the truth hit hard, I stand my ground. Set apart, set apart. I won't walk with the wicked heart. Set apart, set apart. Yahweh call me out from the dark. Holy way, righteous step. I was made for the narrow path. Set apart, set apart. I'm his people and I can't go back. World got a grin, but it bite like a snake. It'll hand you a chain and call it your fate. I had to cut ties with the lust and the pride. Had to kill old habits I was hiding inside. Now I pray for the strength when the flesh get loud. When the crowd want to hold me, I don't turn around. I'm a son with a name, I'm a servant with fire. I don't bend for the world, I was made for heart. So I step back, let the dark pass. Clean hands, clear path, I'm done with that. Set apart now, he won't let me drown. When the truth hit hard, I stand my ground. Set apart, set apart. I won't walk with the wicked heart. Set apart, set apart. Yahweh call me out from the dark. Holy way, righteous step. I was made for the narrow path. Set apart, set apart. I'm his people and I can't go back. Let the fire test me, let the old me die. I've been marked by mercy, I ain't living a lie. If the world get louder, I still hear that voice. Be holy, be separate, that was always my choice. Set apart, set apart. I won't walk with the wicked heart. Set apart, set apart. Yahweh call me out from the dark. Holy way, righteous step. I was made for the narrow path. Set apart, set apart. I'm his people and I can't go back.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Thankful that the Most High Yah has brought us through another week by his mercy and by his grace. We're able to enter in to his set apart, day that he has ordained and set apart for a sign between him and Israel. The title of today's message is Separation. Today I'm going to be talking about the importance of separation, separating from, your fleshly desires, separating from the ways of the world, separating for the sake of righteousness, and the instructions that the Most High Yah gives us. And I'll talk about, people of the Bible, men of the Bible that were called to separate, that were outlined as righteous. Welcome to all in Shabbat Shalom, Israel. How to support the ministry? Hit the like button. I appreciate those that watch the messages weekly. Hit that like button, show your support, help this video get ahead in the algorithm. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you consider subscribing to the channel, turn your notifications on and set to all notifications. That way you can see when I'm dropping new content. Share this video. And then lastly, if you would like to donate or leave an offering, the link is on the slide as well as in the description box. Agenda. Shabbat Shalom family. One of the greatest misconceptions among believers today is that following Yahweh simply requires believing in him while continuing to live according to the customs, values, and desires of the world. Yet from Genesis to Revelation, the Most High has consistently called his people to be set apart, not merely in confession, but in conduct. Separation has always been one of the greatest demonstrations of obedience. It is easy to claim allegiance to Yahweh while remaining attached to the very things he commands us to leave behind. The true test of faith comes when obedience requires sacrifice. Throughout Scripture, Yahweh repeatedly called his servants to separate themselves from relationships, possessions, familiar places, cultural practices, and even personal ambitions in order to walk in his perfect will. Their willingness to let go demonstrated that they loved the Creator more than the creation. This same call remains for believers today as we follow Yahshua HaMashiach. We live in a generation where compromise has become normal and holiness has become optional in the minds of many. The world encourages believers to blend in rather than to stand out, to pursue comfort rather than obedience, to seek acceptance rather than righteousness. Yet Yahweh has never changed his standard. If we truly desire to follow Yahshua, we must be willing to separate ourselves from anything that competes for our devotion, whether it be sin, worldly traditions, unhealthy relationships, pride, greed, or the lust of the flesh. Today's Shabbat message challenges us to examine what still has our affection more than Yahweh and ask an important question. What are you unwilling to leave behind that may keep you from fully following him? You know, man, a lot of times you have a whole religion out there that says that, man, they follow Yahshua. They follow the Messiah. Meanwhile, you don't see separation. You don't see anybody talking about the separation that this walk requires. What you see is a worldly religion that's of this world that doesn't line up with the ways of the book, that doesn't line up with Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 25, obeying the commands and that being your righteousness. And you seeing a lot of people use that said religion and still being lost. People justifying their sin. People saying the law is done away with, the Torah is done away with. So today we're going to talk about the importance of separation and look at how the righteous lived, as well as how some that would not separate from the things that they love. Biblical references. I'll be using the Sefer and the Amplified Bible.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave like everyone else. You were born into bondage. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Why are we here today? Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. Remember the day of the Shabbat to keep it holy. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. Work, Strong's number, Hebrew word 4399, employment, public business, occupation, industrious, public service. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahweh Elohake. In it you shall not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the day of the Sabbath and hallowed it. Exodus 31:13. Speak also unto the children of Yasharel, saying, Truly my Sabbath you shall guard, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahweh Mekadeshim. You got to think, just in order to keep the Shabbat in this day, time, and hour, you have to be separate from what the majority is doing. And when I say majority, I'm talking about the greater of 50% and above that say that they're following Yahshua, that say that they love the Most High. But we see on a day like today, where we choose to separate and obey, we see that the world has sucked people in, and people would rather follow the ways of the world and be lip service worshipers rather than righteous. Definition: separate, disconnect things apart so they are not joined, attached, or mixed. And the reason I mention this is because sometimes we like to keep a small attachment to things. Sometimes we're joined by the smallest strand. We haven't really, on the surface, we can say we're doing this, we're doing that. We're keeping the feast days. We're obeying this law. We're doing that. But today I want you to examine what else is left. No matter how small or how minute you think it is, What is there that you have subtly or craftily not separated from? Separation refers to the act, the process, or state of moving or keeping two or more things apart. So in order to have separation, the first act is to separate. And separation is the consistency of separation. Leviticus 15:31, thus shall you separate the children of Yasharel from their uncleanliness, that they die not in their uncleanliness when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. You got to think today, a lot of defilement in these places of worship. More of, rather than the removal of the things of the world, we're seeing more bringing in the things of the world, or the things that the Most High Yah has told his people not to do, told believers not to do. Separate, Strong's number Hebrew word 5144, to separate, to abstain, to remove oneself from. The objective of separation. To understand that separation from sin and worldly values is a recurring biblical theme and an expression of devotion to Yahweh. Scripture presents obedience as involving both faith and the willingness to leave behind anything that draws us away from him. 2 Corinthians 6:17 through 18. Wherefore come out from among them. So you had to be somewhere. And where you were prior to this walk, the Most High Yah was not pleased with. And be ye separate. Rather than being with the crowd, I want you to stand over here alone. There may only be one or two. Where you were standing, there were thousands, there was millions. And be ye separate, says Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. All of the stuff that you was touching while you was in the world, and you didn't think twice about it because everybody was doing it, and it seemed fun and it seemed normal. He outlines in the Torah, don't touch it. If you can do this, then I'll open my arms to you and welcome you. I'll receive you. I want you to think, man, how many people have been talking the talk but haven't been walking the walk? Maybe that's you. It was once me. I'm in a constant state of trying to examine, or the reason I'm constantly examining is to find out, has there anything that has come up in my life that I've attached myself to, and is that the thing, the recent thing, that's going to hinder my faith? That's gonna, instead of being faithful and obedient, it's going to take the place of that. Examining that and cutting it off at the roots, yanking it up from the roots. And will be the father unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says Yahweh Tisavath. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And be not conformed to this world. To not be conformed to this world is to be strange, is to be weird, is to be peculiar. Man, those are the words associated when you're not like the world. Everybody's celebrating Christmas and Easter and Halloween, and you say you're a believer, you say you're walking in the way, but when you tell people, and I don't celebrate these things, sometimes the first thing out of their mouth is, that's weird. That's strange. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You've got transformed, which is the initial act, and then you have transformed, which means that process has been completed by the renewing of your mind. You got to think, man, when you came out from among them, or when you're in the process of coming out from among them, man, your subscription to the world expired. Your subscription to the world expired. And he renewed it with a new one, a new contract, a new covenant of the mind, that you may prove what is good, acceptable, and perfect. Not what you can just do to get away with. Not making up your own sins, your own transgression. And lastly, the will of Elohim. Yahweh's desire for his people. Hakodesh, or the word holy, carries the idea of being set apart for Yahweh's purpose. Israel was called to reflect Yahweh's character among the nations. To be a light, I want you to think about a light. A light shines out for the visibility of everybody else. When you're not living set apart, man, there's nothing visible in your lifestyle and your behavior for other people to see. Israel was called to reflect Yahweh's character among the nations. Believers are called to live differently from prevailing sinful patterns. Where's this outlined? All throughout the book. The Torah tells us what we're exactly, not supposed to be doing. What we're supposed to be doing. Leviticus 20:26, and ye shall be holy unto me, for I, Yahweh, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that you should be mine. A lot of our conduct, our lifestyle, and things like that is birthed in the world. In order to separate you, in order to sever that umbilical cord, that attachment to the world, you got to be willing to separate. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 15. But as he which has called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation. Man, I want you to understand and ask yourself, how many people through that umbilical cord, through the world, are getting fed by the sinful and wicked ways of the world, rather than being, fed the word of the Most High Yah, the nutrients of the Most High Yah, the nutrients of the word. Man, you're getting fed all this foolishness from the world, and that right there is a stumbling block that keeps you from ever walking set apart or striving for that Hamashiach-like perfection or living righteous. This is why the Most High said he wants to cover it, to sever you from it. Because without that separation, you're not going to be like, you got to understand, when you look at this, look at Babylon, you think of the place that the Most High Yah has destroyed. Man, Babylon for the worldly people, man, seems like the place to be. I want you to think about you being of this world and the Most High Yah, allowing you to live according to his mercy, allowing you to exist in a place like Atlanta. And you're in the club scene, you're doing what everybody's doing, you partaking in all this wickedness. You think and you have to think, we have people today, still as wicked as that city is and other cities like it, we have people today saying, yeah, you should come down here because, man, this is the scene, this is jumping, this is where it's going down. Not too many people want to be holy in the aspect of separation, and the Most High Yah to pluck you, to sever your attachment, to sever your desires for these places, these locations, these things, these actions, and say, you know what, man, I'm going to put you in the middle of Timbuktu. I'm going to set you apart. But when you're set apart, you got to do something in order to be special. Because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. The question comes down to, what will you leave behind? What are you willing to leave behind? Following Yahshua requires self-denial. Man, your flesh is going to want to do any and everything. But you got to be willing to deny the flesh. Sacrifice requires trust, faithfulness, and obedience. The flesh often resists surrender, but obedience frequently involves relinquishing something valued. And whatever is valued in this context is something that your flesh values, but the Most High Yah, he don't see the value in it. The value is your obedience. Luke chapter 9, verse 23, and he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Cross, when you look behind that word, is talking about persecution. Let you be willing to be persecuted daily to follow me. You got to understand, there's people that think that they're following Messiah, but yet Messiah has spared them from persecution, and that don't line up with the word. A lot of the same stuff that the Messiah went through, some of the verbal things that went on with the Pharisees, if you were following him, man, you were a firsthand witness to this. The disciples were a firsthand witness. So what is it to think that you're not going to have to go through this same stuff? What makes you think you're not going to have your moment of persecution? When you when the moment Hamashiach had all power to be able to get out of the situation, but it was a sacrifice he made to endure the persecution that he did on that tree. What makes you think you're not going to have your moment like that when you truly take a stand for righteousness? Abraham left his homeland. Abraham left his family, familiar surroundings, his security. His obedience demonstrated trust in Yahweh's promise. Genesis 12:1. Now Yahweh had said unto Abraham, get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto a land that I will show you. Man, I want you to think about how nicely decorated your home is. Man, you just planted some extra grass seeds. You just put flowers out there. You just built another greenhouse. Man, you building up all kind of stuff. You just put a new TV in your house with the sound bar. That thing is thumping. And the Most High Yah gives you the instruction to say, hey, man, I want you to get out of here. And I'm not gonna tell you where think about the Most High Yah having you move around location to location to test your obedience for a year and you not knowing where you're gonna wind up. Man, I had a brother not too long ago, within the last year, man, was a YouTube subscriber and reached out, hit my link in the description and found out that he was in the walk, had a beautiful family, man, but he was in that phase where the Most High Yah told him to pack up, sell everything, and he was just going around living with different people on homesteads, and they were welcoming him, and it was the Most High Yah was carving out his path, as he was obedient, he was separating from the things that he loved. And he was like, man, it's me, my family, our vehicle, and our trailer, man, and we're just taking this thing as the Most High Yah gives it to him. And the last time that I talked to him, the Most High Yah had given him, the final instruction for the location to where he was to dwell at until the Most High Yah chooses elsewise. And it was a beautiful thing to see. Beautiful thing to see, because in between me first meeting him and him coming to our homestead to kind of see how we do things and to see the kind of processes on a daily basis, in between that initial visit and where the Most High Yah told him to part, we kept in communications, and he would let me know, man, my flesh thought that my family wanted to be in a certain place, but the Most High Yah told us elsewise. It was truly a beautiful thing to see. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 8, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed. And he went out, not knowing whither he went. What if the Most High Yah told you to leave your 2,000 square foot house? What if he told you to leave that nice job? Man, you just got a promotion. Man, you're about to be the head honcho. And the Most High Yah is telling you, man, I want you to leave this place and I want you to go to X, Y, and Z because there's an inheritance waiting on you. And I want you to think about it. The faithless have no reassurance that what the word of the Most High Yah says is true. So they're looking like, why am I going to leave all of this? We'll talk about the rich young ruler. Why am I going to give up all of this liquidity, all of this money to get something that don't feel tangible, but is only tangible spiritually? Like you feel it spiritually. So you got to understand, man, when you have left something that the Most High Yah has told you to separate, man, you feel wealthy spiritually because you're already receiving so many blessings. Moses chose faithfulness. Moses turned away from royal status, wealth, temporary comfort. He chose obedience, even when it came with hardship. Man, reading how Moses had to lead Yashriel and the things that he endured. And how many of us would have said, you know what, man, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my comfortable lifestyle. Flip these jokers. Flip them. Jokers don't want to do right. Most High Yah done showed me, hey, we need to be doing this, but they can't see the vision. Moses kept laboring in it, even when it came with hardship. Hebrews 11:24-26. By faith, Moshe, when he has come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Man, come on in here and bump elbows with us. Pharaoh's, son of Pharaoh's daughter. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of Elohim. Choosing. How many of us are avoiding affliction rather than suffering with the people of Elohim, than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season? Esteeming the reproach of Mashiach greater as riches than the treasures of Misraim, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. Joseph separated himself. Sometimes separation means physically removing oneself from temptation. Integrity may require immediate action. Genesis 39:7-12. And it came to pass after these things that his Adonai's woman cast her eyes unto Joseph, and she said, lie with me. Come on in here. Don't I smell good? Don't I look good? Well, baby, I want to make you feel good. Come on and lie with me. But he refused and said unto the woman of his Adonai, behold, my Adonai knows not what is with me in the house, and he has committed all that he has to my hand. There is none greater in his house than I, neither has he kept back anything from me but you. Because you are his woman, how then can I do this great wickedness and sin against Elohim? You belong to another man. Why would I lay down with you? You got to understand, separating yourself from temptation, man, that's one of the hardest ones. You got to understand, that only not ties into sexual immorality, but it ties into food. Man, it ties into the type of fun you like to have, the entertainment. And it came to pass, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her, to lie by her, or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled, and got him out. I want you to understand, somebody grabbing on you, feeling on you, and then you spinning up out of there, pulling your sleeves out, getting away from this. How many brothers would have cracked at the hands of temptation? So we have to be willing to separate from temptation, and these are the examples. Daniel refused defilement. Daniel maintained faithfulness despite living in Babylon. Believers may need to resist cultural pressures that conflict with biblical convictions. Daniel 1:8. But Daniel's purpose in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat. So you got to understand what kind of meat was on that table. You got to understand that it was a violation of Torah. So you got people out there talking about we did a Daniel's fast. And they're not understanding the Torah ties to this, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Hey, I see what y'all eating, but I'm not going to partake in this. If that's okay, I'm not going to partake. The disciples left jobs. Following Messiah requires prioritizing his call above previous pursuits. Discipleship involves reordered priorities. So the priorities that you had in this world when you weren't a disciple, when you weren't following the Messiah, man, all of that has to be reorganized, has to be prioritized, has to be reordered, because you might have put righteousness, you might have put following Yeshua dead last when all of your desires were up first, and you're not going to separate or be ye separate without reordering those. Matthew 4:18-22. And Yeshua, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Shem and Shimon, Simon and Kepha, and Andre his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers. And he said unto them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Think about that. You got a net full of fish. Somebody come up to you saying, hey, I want you to leave this job. I'm going to make you even greater at what you're currently doing. And they straightway left their nets and followed him. And going on from thence, he saw other two brethren, Yaakov and the son of Zebedee, and Yochanan his brother, in a ship with Zebedee their father, mending their nets, and he called them. And they immediately left the ship and their father and followed him. You got to understand, these people were fishermen by trade. And the Most High Yah called them, or convicted them enough to say, you know what, I'm gonna leave what I got alone, and I'm gonna follow this guy. I don't care how weird, how strange he is, how ashy he is, how unlike the world he looks. I'm gonna follow him. You gotta understand, people choosing to criticize and judge what Noah was doing, there's a reason a lot of them got wiped out. All of them got wiped out. When if they would have said, hey Noah, man, you mind if we follow in your footsteps? Just tell us what you want us to do. Tell me where you want me to hold this wood, and where you want me to nail it, and where you want me to do this. But because they chose to criticize and be judgmental of Noah's righteousness, man, they got destroyed. Man, the rich young ruler highlighted this in red because these are people that didn't separate. Man, the rich young ruler his possessions became an obstacle to wholehearted discipleship. The account invites self-examination regarding attachments. Mark chapter 10, verse 21 through 22, then Yahshua, beholding him, loved him and said unto him, One thing you lack. Go away and sell whatsoever you have and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come to take up your cross and follow me. You got to understand. Think about this. Here it is. You're the rich young ruler. Man, you didn't made a way for yourself in life. Got all this nice stuff, all this money. And the Most High Yah wants you to make an act of bringing yourself low. Bringing yourself to the status of being at the people, the poor people that he wants you to give all your riches to. He wants you to be on their status. He wants you to exalt the poor, to give your stuff to the poor. That's pretty much like taking your house today, taking everything you got, selling it all and saying, you know what? Man, I'm going to go give it to this dude that looks like he's on crack. I'm going to give it to this people that look like they ain't took a bath. And I'm going to let them have it. And I'm going to trade places. And you shall have treasure in heaven, and come, take up your cross and follow me. And when he was sad at that saying, and went away grieved, for he had great possessions. He wasn't willing to part from it. He wasn't willing to separate. So thus far there was no separation. Lot's wife. Men, how many of you would have went back? You would have turned back to even see what your wife was doing, rather than keeping your eyes where the Most High Yah told you to focus on. Leaving behind a sinful environment also requires letting go inwardly. Longing for the past can hinder obedience. Man, this is family ties. You can understand how many people are choosing not to walk in his ways and his will and in righteousness because of a family member, because of a wife, because of a husband, because of children. Genesis chapter 19, verse 12. You got to, before this, man, when it comes to family, we oftentimes, we say, man, I love them and I can't do them like that. What greater love is there than our obedience to the Most High? What greater love is there than our obedience in the walk of following Yahshua as he follows the will of the Most High? So when you think about prioritizing reprioritizing the order of things in your life. Family can't come before the walk, because there's going to be some times where the Most High Yah is definitely telling you to separate and you won't. A lot of people can't separate from worldly holidays because they place family at a higher priority than righteousness. Genesis 19:12-13. And the men said unto Lot, have you here any besides son-in-law and your sons and your daughters and whatsoever you have in the city? Bring them out of this place. You better get these out of here. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of Yahweh, and Yahweh has sent us to destroy it. Genesis 19:26. But his woman looked back from behind him. So she was behind him following Lot. All she had to do was submit to his footsteps. She would have been good. And she became a pillar of salt. I want you to think about that, sisters. What in this world is there an attachment to? You're trying to be righteous in other areas, but you really ain't putting no effort towards separating and coming out from among this thing, this attachment. When you think about that thing, that attachment, I want you to think about an umbilical cord tied to something that's as thin as a hair. The average person can't see it. From a distance, they can't see it. But when you get up close, you got to think, anytime you've had a hair in your food, you've had a hair stuck on your clothing, you got to get up close on it and you see it and you say, man, think about something as thin as that, separating you from 100% separation from this world. The perfect example in Yahshua. Yahshua constantly chose the Father's will over personal comfort. He models faithful obedience. Philippians chapter 2, verse 5-8. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashiach Yahshua, who being in the form of Elohim, thought it not robbery to be equal with Elohim, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon himself the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. Man, I don't want your titles. I don't want your reputations. And being found in the fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. John chapter 6, verse 38. For I came down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him that sent me. How many of us wake up in the morning and this is our mindset? Or are we embarking on a new day and the Most High Yah has spared us by his mercy, by his grace, and we're running out into this world to do our own will? Nothing pleasing to the Father, but then we run out and do our own will, and then we give glory and honor to the Most High Yah as if it was something that he wanted us to do. Because that's how, when you are unrighteously religious, that's how you frame your day. When the Most High Yah wants us to consecrate our fleshly desires, the things that we want to do that are of this world. And it's as simple. Like when you think about how humbling that is, even though I've got free will, I'm going to humble myself to do only your will. The will of the Creator as his creation. You got to think, everything that the majority of stuff that we do before we enter into this walk, before we start walking in truth that's of this world, is not our intended purpose when the Creator created us as his creation. Everything coming from a manufacturer has an intended purpose. But sometimes things, especially technology, has been known to glitch. And we're almost living in a glitch. We're operating out of the procedures, the protocol, the instructions. And it's a spiritual condition. And the only way to get rid of these glitches and our programs keep shutting down and stuff is working all out of order, out of the programs how the Most High Yah created is, the only way to get over that or to get rid of that is to get this software update. And the Most High Yah has to renew your mind. Just like on your phone, just like on your computer, just like on your vehicle, depending on your year, man, you got to go into the dealership to get the latest updates so certain issues won't happen. To get the maximum efficiency, you got to get the update. You got to get the update from the Most High Yah, not the world. See, when you're living unrighteously religious, you're getting updates from the world, and you know what? You just glitching out even more. You're having more glitches. Most High Yah wants you to get his update, the righteous update. Separation today. Believers are called to examine whether anything competes with devotion to Yahweh, including habitual sin, greed, pride, sexual immorality, bitterness, dishonesty, idolatry of success or possession. People never think about the worship of success or the worship of possessions. When you're not willing to get rid of or separate from a position, a title, or a possession, man, that is the thing that is keeping you from the Most High Yah. Separation today. 1 John chapter 2 through 15 through 17. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not him. So you can't be booging in Babylon talking about, yeah, I love the Most High, I love God, I'm following JESUS. No. For all that is in the world is the lust of what? Your flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. It is not of the Father, but of this world. So this is the Most High Yah, all throughout his word, is giving us distinctions. This is a thing, this is another thing. This is what I want, this is what I don't want. And the world passes away, but the lust thereof, but he that does the will of Elohim abides forever. So if you're following in this world, man, that's going to be the end of you. But if you abide in the will of Elohim, man, you got eternal life. James chapter 4, verse 4. Ye men and women who break wedlock, who take virginity, who pop the woman's cherry, and not fulfill the duty of marriage, know you not that the friendship of this world is enmity with Elohim? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of this world is an enemy of Elohim. Who break that covenant. I want you to think about a virgin and the cherry. Man, that is a blood covenant when a woman is betrothed and she consecrates the marriage sexually. Man, that's a blood covenant. And I want you to think, so many young men and women, man, their first introduction into sexual immorality is this right here, breaking wedlock. It's not on the men. It's on the men and the women. And that right there, like once you have partaken in that, man, some people never separate themselves from sexual immorality. It's the last thing. You know, they don't mind being religious. They don't mind this. Like, you got people in Israel today. You need to, don't be fooled, man. A lot of these Torah observers, Sabbath keepers, you know, people that claim to be Yasharel, man, they can't separate it, and they're not constantly examining, you know, what is in their heart. And how the Most High Yah tells us via the Torah we're not supposed to do this. We got a lot of worldly freaks in Yasharel. That's the thing that they haven't come out from. And here's the thing, a lot of them have taken titles. Some pedophiles, some perverts, some freaks. And this is where there's so many people that are eyewitnesses and giving testimonies of being eyewitnesses of seeing some of this stuff, because okay, maybe it's the umbilical cord of immodesty. You're tied to wanting to wear skin tight stuff, wanting to reveal your goods so you get all this unrighteous attention, so you can be a stumbling block for the brethren. You got people that are eyewitnesses to this. Maybe it's you doing the same thing as a man to try to draw in the sisters. You wanting them to lust after you, and you only wanting to partake in pleasure. A lot of this going on. And rightfully so, we need to examine. We shouldn't get to a place where we say, you know what? Man, there's nothing I need to repent for. There's nothing I need to turn from. Because you might have separated from some things. But what if a new umbilical cord for something of the world has formed through a new hobby, through a new skill, through a new relationship? Man, we gotta examine this daily, because you never know how this stuff can creep in. Never know how it can creep in. When you start saying, because of this relationship, because of this friendship, because of this thing, because of this event, because of this sport, because of this sale at the mall, you know, I'm gonna miss the Shabbat. I'm gonna stop doing this. I'm gonna not fellowship with the brethren. Blessing of obedience separation. Obedience produces spiritual growth. Faithfulness strengthens one and deepens fellowship with Yahweh. Deuteronomy 28, verse 1 through 2. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh Elehake, to guard and to do all his commandments, which I command you this day, that Yahweh Elohake will set you on high above all the nations on earth. You can't be set on high above all the nations on the earth if you ain't doing nothing that he instructed you to do. And that's the problem with unrighteous religiously people. They want people to follow their ways, but they still got plenty ways of wickedness that they haven't separated from. It ain't nothing but lip service worship. Your lips is talking good, but your walk is not righteous. And all these blessings shall come unto you and overtake you, if you shall hearken unto the voice of Yahweh Elehake. Psalms chapter 1, verse 1 through 3. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the wicked. You gotta understand. You taking this. I made a video on one of my other channels about not taking counsel from those that's walking in sin. Everybody's not, when you're walking set apart, everybody is not qualified to give you counsel, because everybody is not worried about your salvation, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scorners. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his Torah he meditates day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of the water, that brings forth his fruit in his season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall prosper. This is why a lot of stuff that we do doesn't prosper. Because, man, the nutrients that are flowing through that umbilical cord to the things that we're attached to in this world is like a poison to prospering righteously. But yet we won't give it up. Yet that fruit is not as abundant as it could be. Importance of reflection. Questions that we need to be considering on a daily basis. Questions or reflections. What attachment makes obedience difficult for me? Man, what area of the word, what instruction that the Most High Yah has given us is difficult because of an attachment that I have? Are the influences I need to leave behind to follow Yeshua more faithfully? Are there? What are the influences I need to leave behind? Does my daily life reflect that I belong to Yahweh? Or does my daily life reflect that I belong to the world? That I belong to Hasatan? Man, that can be your life entirely, or that can be particular aspects of your life. Am I willing to choose obedience even when it requires sacrifice? You might have to sacrifice that relationship, with a man, with a woman, with your children, with friends. Joseph chapter 24, verse 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve Yahweh, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether Elohah, which your father served, that were on the other side of the flood, or Elohim of the Emorym in the land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yahweh. Hebrews 12:1. Wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight, everything that's holding you back from coming out, everything that's weighing you down, that attachment, and the sin which does so easily beset us. and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. You got to understand, man, when something is weighing you down, there's like there's pressure on you. There's resistance. Like the Most High Yah is telling you, I want you to think about being in a hole, and somebody put you in this hole standing upright, and then they fill it in with dirt. So you got you got resistance on your shoulder. You got to work through all of this dirt in order to get yourself up out of it. There's a resistance. You got weight on your shoulders. As we conclude, brothers and sisters, remember that Yahweh has never called his people merely to believe in him. He has called them to walk with him. Throughout Scripture, those whom he used most powerfully were often asked to leave something behind. Abraham left his homeland. Moses left privileges of Pharaoh's house. Joseph fled temptation. Daniel refused compromise. The disciples left their nets. Their obedience did not make them perfect, but it revealed hearts willing to trust Yahweh above comfort, familiarity, and personal ambition. The same invitation, I want you to understand, man, signed, sealed, and delivered, the same invitation still stands today. Following Yahshua is simply not adding faith to an unchanged life. It is allowing our lives to be shaped by the will of the Father. Separation is not about withdrawing from people or viewing ourselves as superior to others. Rather, it is about loving Yahweh so deeply that our values, priorities, and conduct reflect his character. May we ask him for the courage to release whatever hinders faithful obedience and to walk the path he has prepared for us. Shabbat Shalom, Yisrael. Glory to the King is coming. Turn from your sins. Shabbat Shalom, Yisrael. Once again, this is Close to Yah Ministries, kicking that thing gun barrel straight.